Coming up on this edition of First Alert Weather Extra, we're talking quiet weather to end the week, but the frigid cold will be coming back, prompting 2 First Alert weather days.
Plus, we're getting answers on what you need to do to make sure your car is ready for the bitter, bitter cold this weekend.
And later, what parents need to know in order to keep your kids safe and healthy throughout the winter season. Good morning and welcome to our new streaming-only show, First Alert Weather Extra. I'm Liam Murphy.
And I am Sloan Wick. This is where we're going to talk all things weather.
Yeah, and Sloan, here we go again with the bitter cold on the way this weekend. So
I'm not a fan of the wind either.
No, and that's what just makes it worse. I mean, we had a lot of that already this winter. We had a quick break from it this week, and it's felt very nice.
I'll take it, yeah.
Like the bar is not very high for this time of year, but I would say the last couple days, very comfortable feeling. 30s, sunshine.
Comparatively.
Yeah. But we got to brace for the bitter cold again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, unfortunately. Right now, though, things are not looking too bad. We did start off the day with mostly cloudy skies, and, you know, it was not as cold this morning because of the cloud cover out there due to a phenomenon called radiational cooling, and I'll talk more about that in more in depth and the science behind it in just a little while. But right now, you can see that we do have mostly cloudy skies out there, the sun trying to peek through here. We will have a tendency to see more sunshine throughout the rest of your day today. But look at these temperatures, not bad for this time of day, especially compared to where it's been lately. So we're at 24 degrees in Springfield, we're at also 24 in Northampton and Greenfield. We're at 23 in Westfield, and we're about 18 right now over in Beckett, 17 in Pittsfield. And we do have a wind, which has definitely picked up within the last 2 hours, anywhere between, say, 10 and 20 miles per hour. So that drives wind chills down into the single digits and teens. And we will be looking at a bit of a breeze causing wind chills for a good portion of the day today. A lot of cloud cover earlier this morning, but we're starting to see a lot of clearing across Franklin and Hampshire County, eventually making its way down into Hamden County as well. So we will progressively get sunnier as we head through the rest of your day today. Highs will once again be near 30, but it will be breezy as well. So wind chills will be ranging in the upper teens to around 20 all throughout the day today. And then as we head into tonight, we will be looking at partly to mostly clear skies. Winds will go light to calm, which means that radiational cooling is going to be in play, and temperatures will be falling back to either side of 0 heading into tomorrow morning. Then for your Thursday, mostly sunny, cold, highs near 30, but we'll also be looking at a little bit of a lighter breeze, so not quite as bad tomorrow. But we do have that bitter cold on the way once again for the weekend. Also a little bit of some snow I'll talk about as well. I'll have more details on that in just a few minutes. In the meantime, Sloan, back to you.
Thank you, Liam. With more bitterly cold weather on the way once again, you should probably take this time to make sure your car is ready for it. During previous cold stretches, local towing companies have been seeing an uptick in dead battery-related tow calls. I know I've been there. According to AAA, at 32 degrees, vehicle batteries lose 30%. That's right, 30% of their power. At 0 degrees, vehicle batteries can drain 60% of their power. Not a good situation. Batteries 3 years or older should be checked and or replaced. And AAA also suggests you check the conditions of your tires. You need to replace worn wiper blades as well. And as always, keep an emergency kit in your car. Some items to include can be traction, such as sand, salt, or non-clumping cat litter, basic tool kits, jumper cables or jump packs. And when it comes to electric vehicles, you want to park your vehicle in a garage if you can and make sure the tires are at the right pressure. You also want to use your heat efficiently. Along with the cold does come some risk for health problems as well. Hypothermia and frostbite are just a few cold weather related injuries children may face when being exposed to these frigid temperatures for too long. Western Mass News spoke to Dr. John Kelly, who's a pediatrician in East Longmeadow, about how parents can keep their little ones warm.
I think it's important, though, that make sure that, like for the infants, the kids that can't really defend for themselves, and tell people that they're cold, that you keep a close eye on them and not have them outside too much.
There are a few things parents can do to keep their kids better prepared during these cold snaps, like dressing them in warm layers and limiting the amount of time they spend outdoors.
Rule of thumb for older babies and young children is to dress them in one more layer of clothing than an adult would wear in a similar situation.
Signs of hypothermia you should watch out for include shivering, lethargy, clumsiness, slurred speech, low body temperature, and white or gray fingertips. Many customers are feeling the pinch as temperatures keep falling. Home heating prices have been spiking. Some seeing an increase of about $50 to $60 every time they fill a typical tank. Ooh, rough. We stopped by Newton Energy in Springfield to get answers. That's where Tim Nugent, the director of sales, says since January, things have jumped 40 to 50 cents per gallon. The reason for all of it? Well, it's a mix of higher demand during cold weather and global events that affect oil prices across the world.
Well, they can turn the thermostat down and wear sweaters and sweatshirts, and some people are comfortable doing that. Others still aren't happy doing that. So, if you want to lower the price, lower the consumption, you'd have to turn the thermostat down.
But he warns don't go much below 62 to 65 degrees because if you lose power, your home's temperature will drop much faster and put your pipes at risk. And with the extreme cold, Newton Energy has seen a huge spike in demand. So he recommends being on automatic delivery to make sure you always get your oil when you need it. Coming up, we're taking you to Connecticut, where crews made a truly heroic ice rescue when First Alert Weather Extra returns.
Unlocking your business potential takes the right digital strategy and the right partner. At Gray Digital Media, we're that partner you can trust because we know local. We develop the right message to grab attention and drive leads with custom strategies designed to grow your brand and reach your customers across the streaming channels you know best. Your business will show up in the social feeds we all use every day, and we'll help you leverage the power of Google and talk to the right audience on YouTube. Our marketing experts connect you with customers
right here in Western Mass and wherever your audience is.
Together, we'll find new customers and get results that matter to you and your business. Cutting-edge strategies, backed by local expertise. That's the Gray Digital Media difference. We know local. Let's connect today.
GDMWesternMass.com.
Welcome back. Firefighters in Connecticut stepped in to help a swan stuck in some icy waters.
Yeah, the Norwalk Fire Department says they were called to the Norwalk River on Tuesday morning, and there's where they found a swan frozen in the water. Crews used several tools, including a chainsaw, to cut through the ice to get the swan.
Wow.
And the deputy fire chief says things didn't look promising for the animal when they first arrived on the scene, but the swan eventually started moving and seemed to know they were there to help.
Aww.
The swan was transported to an emergency veterinary center and was checked out, and hopefully is making a pretty nice recovery there.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
That is so sweet. From one animal to another, frigid temperatures in South Florida have everyone looking to warm up, even the wildlife. Temps in the 30s this week in West Palm Beach have, of course, also dropped the water temperatures. Luckily, the manatees know the best place to seek warmth. That includes this natural gas facility in Lake Worth Lagoon. It pumps out warm water for Florida wildlife. Early Tuesday, more than 200 manatees were spotted swimming and relaxing in the area. You got to get some relaxation in there, too. The Manatee Lagoon has attracted manatees for decades and decades as they've learned to travel towards the warm waters discharged by the Energy Center.
Now over to Western New York, where a true community effort is underway in Mayville as volunteers and students work together to build the ice castle ahead of their annual winter festival over President's Day weekend. Dozens of volunteers, along with students, have been stacking and shaping hundreds of blocks of ice to create the structure that has become the centerpiece of the celebration. Students also built sled riding hills next to the castle for families to enjoy during the event. It's really, really cool.
It is. I think that is such a unique thing, and what a way to make the best out of these cold
and
temperatures.
The fact that they're making it look legit with with the way they're really making those ice bricks and building it up.
Yeah.
So.
I grew up in Texas, so I would see people do kind of a similar thing with sand castles, but to see it in ice is a whole different experience.
I know, it really, really is. It's very magical looking. And, we are dealing with the cold once again. Of course, we are in the midst of winter. And something that we've been talking about a little bit in our newscasts, and a little bit I've hinted at so far, is a phenomenon called radiational cooling. Do we know what that is? I've hinted at it a couple times.
You've talked about it.
It does directly, though, impact our weather. And this is actually part of the reason why this morning was not as cold and why the last couple mornings were really cold.
Okay, so it has to do with the clouds and trapping heat, right?
Yes. So what we do all day long is we are picking up solar radiation that heats the ground during the day.
Okay.
And that happens all day long. Now, once we head to nighttime, if we have a lot of clouds around, that cloud deck here kind of acts as a little bit of a blanket that kind of keeps that heat trapped in. The wind also plays a factor as well. If we have a breeze, then the air masses continue to mix. So we have a wind, we have clouds around, and we're not really able to cool all that efficiently. That was the case last night. We held on to a lot more cloud cover, so it was not nearly as cold as it could have been this morning. Now, as we have on days where we are looking at clear skies and calm winds, that's when all of that solar radiation or that heating we pick up during the day has the opportunity to just completely escape the atmosphere, and that's where our temperatures go into free fall, where they have the potential to fall to the dew point. So, for example, later on tonight, we are expecting to see partly cloudy skies as well as less of a breeze. So we have two important ingredients for efficient cooling, meaning that we are expecting to get colder tonight because of the fact that there's not going to be a lot of clouds around to hold in that solar radiation, and there won't be as much of a breeze to continue to mix up the atmosphere. So colder is expected tonight, and those temperatures during the days where we have those clouds around, that's when it's not necessarily as cold. So that's what you'll notice sometimes during our overnight lows, whereas when we have clear skies, we get really cold. And this is actually something that happens all year long. So even when it is in the summertime, we have clear skies and calm breezes. That's when our temperatures have the potential to fall down to the dew point. So if it's a non-humid day, we can get pretty chilly sometimes over the summer if we have clear skies and a calm breeze. That's radiational cooling. Of course, I'll have more details on your full forecast in just a few minutes when we're talking about more bitter cold on the way this weekend. In the meantime, Sloan, back to you.
Thank you, Liam. We're taking a live look outside right now in Springfield. You can see those clouds hanging over us right then and there. Not a whole lot of sunshine breaking through, but hey, at least it's keeping us a little bit warmer. Liam will be back with your full forecast, including a look at your First Alert 10-day after this.
Western Mass News is your first alert wherever you are.
From sunny to severe and everything in between. We're with you before and during the storm.
Severe weather expected. Strong gust.
Issuing a First Alert Weather Day and preparing you on your favorite platforms for whatever Mother Nature has in store.
Here's your next weather maker. We are expecting to see a little bit.
Streaming live on your TV, on your phone, and on the networks of Western Mass News.
This is why we First Alert.
Western Mass News First Alert Weather.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to First Alert Weather Extra, where we'll take now a deep dive into your next 10 days, and we'll start by talking about today. So we started off today with a lot of clouds around, and it was not as cold as we were just talking about with that radiational cooling. We did not have efficient cooling last night because of the cloud cover, and now that we are mostly cloudy now, we will continue to see more clearing as we head through the rest of your day, meaning that we will be looking at more sunshine around. Temperatures will also get to around 30 to 32 degrees in many of our valley locations. And we'll also have a little bit of a breeze as well. So wind chills will be a factor today. Heading into the Berkshires, highs will likely range in the mid to upper 20s, and we'll also continue to see a mix of sun and clouds out there. Heading into this evening, winds will go light to calm. We'll have clearer skies, not completely clear skies, but we'll have a lot less cloud cover out there. So we'll be able to cool a little bit more efficiently, meaning tomorrow morning it will get colder. So in fact, many of us tomorrow morning should wake up to temperatures on either side of zero. We're starting to see some clearing right now. Our temperature is currently still sitting at 24 degrees, which is not bad for this time of day, coming off of some of the colder mornings we've had lately. We do have that wind, though. It has picked up since earlier this morning at 15 miles per hour now, so that 24 does feel more like 12 degrees. Right now it's 27 in Boston, about 25 in Providence, 20 in Worcester, and 17 right now over in Pittsfield. And also that wind all across southern New England has continued to pick up as well, between 10 and 20 miles per hour. This is going to be something we do see for the rest of the day, with gusts occasionally topping 25 or maybe even up over 30 miles per hour. So with that being said, as our temperatures do get close to 30 degrees throughout the day today, your wind chill or your feels like temperature will be ranging in the upper teens to around 20 degrees all day long. So it's definitely going to be a cold day out there for sure. Wind gusts may top 25 miles per hour at times, but we'll have lighter breezes heading into Thursday and into Friday as well. But then the wind really ramps up once again as we head into the weekend, along with those frigid temperatures. Your satellite and radar right now does show mainly cloudy skies out there, but we are seeing that clearing occurring, especially across parts of Franklin and Hampshire County, where we've gone mostly sunny, and we're still in the process of clearing here in Hampden County. As we head through the rest of your day today, partly to mostly sunny. Much of the same for your day tomorrow as well. We'll also have that less of a breeze, so it'll feel pretty comfortable out there for tomorrow, especially for February standards. Then for Friday, we will have a lot more clouds around, but we should stay dry for the entire day. But then your next weather maker is on the way. This is going to be for Friday night, but then really for the weekend. We've already gone ahead and declared first alert weather days for Saturday and Sunday, primarily because of bitterly cold temperatures and dangerous wind chills. We have an Arctic front on the way. Before that, we will see a little bit of some snowfall, but that's not the main story. The frigid cold and the wind is the main story, and that will be impacting us the worst on Saturday and Sunday. Worst in the mornings, but still not that great in the afternoons either. So we're talking winds that may gust between 30, 40, 45 miles per hour at times. That would drive wind chills down between 15 and 35 degrees below zero, where things like frostbite could set in as little as 30 minutes. We also want to watch out for signs of hyperthermia as well, what we were just talking about earlier in this segment here. Now, before that front does come through, we will see some periods of light snow coming through, primarily overnight on Friday and lingering into the first part of your day Saturday. This particular model does kind of have a lot of light snow showers lingering throughout the good portion of the day Saturday, but I do think it will end probably mid-morning or late morning. I would say midday at the latest. But then as we head into the rest of your weekend, the story is really the cold. In terms of that snowfall, though, about 1 to 3 inches, so nothing major, not a lot of snow, and that's not the main story. It's just kind of an added inconvenience on top of the bitter cold that we're going to be dealing with. But we are going to be expecting about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall as this front is coming through. But then it's the bitterly cold temperatures that have prompted our first alert weather days for Saturday and Sunday. So we're talking, again, wind chills between 15 and 35 below zero as our actual air temperatures barely make it into the teens. Very cold stuff. More sunshine despite all the cold on Sunday, though. By Monday, we are starting to come out of the bitterly cold, so it is still blustery, it is still cold, not as bad as the weekend, but we're starting to come out of it. And then as we head into the second half of next week, well, that is where we're going to start to see temperatures perhaps getting a little bit closer to normal for this time of year, which will be ranging back into the 30s. So that'll feel definitely a little bit more comfortable out there after coming off of that bitter cold that we are expecting over the weekend. So in the meantime, Sloan, I guess it's just going to be time to once again brace for that bitter cold.
Story of my life lately. I am not loving all of this cold, but I am trying my darndest to get through it.
Yeah, we got to find our little victories. I mean, this time of year is not a favorite for most people, so we got to find our little victories where we can.
Find our
Yeah,
victories.
we're going to lower the standards here. 30s feels nice.
Yes.
Coming off of the bitter cold that we've had.
Some sunshine. We got some yesterday.
Yes. So
We get to have our nice winter jackets out, enjoy the fall, winter fashion.
winter in New England is inevitable. We just got to find our ways to get
cope.
through it. Yes, and cope with it and find our victories.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today on First Alert Weather Extra, but we are going to be back once again tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Yes, and by the way, if you've missed any episodes, you can go back on our app and stream all the episodes we've done so far on demand at any time. So pretty cool stuff.
Pretty cool stuff. Have a great day, everybody.
We'll see ya. Stay warm.
Goodbye.